everyone, it's Gina, and today we're going to be talking about how to start the transition process from relaxed or chemically damaged hair to naturally curly hair. If you have any type of texture to your hair, whether that be wavy, curly, super curly, then this video is definitely going to help you out. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for watching. I always do curly hair videos for my 3B texture hair, and then I also focus on makeup for the everyday person, really achievable looks, affordable looks, all that type of stuff, so my hair care is kind of the same. So I have had quite the hair journey. It's been quite a long haul since probably like 2011 or 12 since I really started to focus on my hair. I've had naturally curly hair since I was born, of course, and my parents never knew how to style my hair when I was younger, so I just slicked it back really tight in a tight ponytail. It was awful. I would brush it dry, which of course is a no-no, and I just never knew or understood how to style my hair. Once I started experimenting more with my hair as I was a teenager, I was coloring it, I was heat styling it, I was always really into straightening it. I always really liked my hair straight, and it was kind of like something I would switch back and forth between all the time, and I didn't really like it curly because I didn't really know how to properly style it. So that kind of led to the heat styling, which if you guys are watching this and you're looking for that type of information, you probably are heat styling your hair or you've chemically damaged it with color or bleach and whatnot. And so I'm going to share like the steps on how to actually start to recover your hair. And I'm sure there's tons of videos out there on this, but I wanted to share my personal journey on my tips and stuff that I've learned over the years. My hair has changed dramatically. So I will insert some pictures here. I want to say it might have been around 2011, 2012 when I started coloring my hair. And that's when I really started to notice, looking back on it now actually, that how damaged it was, and I didn't really notice it at the time. I wasn't using the curly girl method, which we're gonna get into, and I just wasn't properly caring for my hair. I was just kind of experimenting with all different types of things, and it looked pretty bad. I thought it looked good at the time, but in comparison to now, it's so healthy now and soft, and I have so many ringlets. Like, I have tight ringlets now in my hair, and I never had these before. I just kind of had this loose wave, and I never realized like my hair's full potential because I never actually let it come through. So hopefully this will help you kind of actually see your real hair and figure out how to get it back to its natural state. It takes a long time, so my first tip is to have patience because this is going to take a very long time. It takes years to kind of transition your hair back to its natural state. So the first thing you want to do, and I'm sure you have heard this in every single video if you're looking for these types of videos, is to chop off the dead ends. Unfortunately, you can't really do anything about the dead ends once they're already dead. If you have those stragglers that are just kind of hanging, which I have pictures of those, you need a trim. Like if you're seeing that you have straight pieces that won't curl up no matter what you do, if your hair is really tangly, if it feels dry, if you get those little tiny knots on each strand, then you need a trim. And it's kind of a vicious cycle with trimming if you're still heat styling your hair, because if you get a trim and then you heat style it, you're damaging it again, and then you have to trim it off again, and your hair just actually gets shorter. So if you're trying to grow your hair, it's important to chop off the dead ends and then just stop heat styling it all together so it can actually grow. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and get the big chop, which a lot of people do that, and it's amazing obviously to do that, but I wouldn't be able to go super short with my hair just because I don't feel like it would look right on me. But if you don't want to do that, you can do it gradually. So I used to get trims every 6 weeks, and that's a really good way to just cut off like a very little bit, and you can just gradually cut off more, and your hair is growing at the same time, so you might not notice that length difference as much. The next thing you're gonna want to do is to stop washing your hair every day. I usually wash my hair about 2 days a week, so I will go 2 to 3 days in between, sometimes 4. The longer you can push it, the better, because naturally curly hair, as we all know, is a lot drier. We don't produce as much oil. The oil takes longer to reach all the way down. It just can't with the way that our hair spirals, so it's just naturally a lot drier. So if you're washing your hair too often, you're just stripping out those natural oils, and in turn, you're probably producing more oil. So you notice your hair might be greasy, because some of you might be thinking, well, I can't go out the house with my hair looking greasy. But you can pretty much train your hair if you wash it less frequently to produce less oil. And you can do dry shampoos, protective styles, you can wear it up. There's ways that you can kind of prolong it until you wash it next. So the next thing I want to talk about is hair growth, and I'll do a whole nother video on this, but I just wanted to kind of touch on it. Like I said, with getting those frequent trims, you can do scalp massages. I have a video on this, on how I like to massage my scalp at night. You could do these every night with essential oils, and there's tons of oils that are really good for your scalp to help stimulate hair growth. Or you can take vitamins. I've been taking these Hair 369. These are the advanced hair growth formula. These have 5,000 mcgs of biotin, and I've noticed my roots are coming in a lot quicker because I was coloring my hair, but I'll get to that in a minute about how I've stopped recently to fully transition my hair. but I've noticed that they've been coming in a lot quicker. My nails are growing like a weed, and I'm gonna have a video all about these soon on how fast my nails are growing and stuff. So any type of biotin vitamin, but these in particular have a bunch of other good ingredients in them that really help your hair growth. Another good thing to do is tea rinses. That can also help stimulate hair growth with good ingredients. I have a video on my favorite tea rinse and how I do deep conditioning treatments. So now for the deep conditioning part. You also are going to want to deep condition your hair at least once a week. You can even do it more frequently if your hair is really dry. I was never consistent about deep conditioning, and once I started doing it for the past year, every single week, my hair has changed so much before. You don't even want to let it get to that dry state. So if you are deep conditioning it every week, you're constantly adding that moisture back in. And I do a lot of protein treatments too. There's lots of deep conditioners that I love. I really like protein-based ones because they're really good at rebuilding the structure of your hair. So if you're transitioning, you want to look for those. But you do want to be careful with protein not to overdo it because it can make your hair brittle, especially if you're protein sensitive. So you can Google that if you want to know exactly what that means, but you just don't want to go overboard with it. So I would say do protein like once a month or so, and that's what I have found really helps. My hair always feels so good after deep conditioning, no matter what curl type you have, or even if you're just wavy, even if you have straight hair, it's really good to be deep conditioning once a week to really help put that moisture back in. And I have a full video that I've done on the ultimate deep conditioning routine where I do a bunch of different steps. It's like a spa day for my hair, so I'll link that video for you down below, and I'll have lots of other suggested videos for you that I think might be helpful if you're just starting out with transitioning. My next tip is to try Olaplex treatment. So I've done lots of videos on Olaplex. This is the #3 take-home treatment. If you're wondering what this is, it's a bond repairing product. So it's not like a deep conditioner. It actually repairs the broken bonds in your hair, which are broken down by heat and chemical damage. So this is gonna be your best friend if you're transitioning. This will transform your hair, I guarantee it. You've got to see my before and after results. They're amazing. And once I started using this, I got these really tight defined ringlets that I didn't have before, when before I had like a loose wave. So this has changed my hair, and I have a full video on it, so I will put that down below for you. Probably the #1 thing that's gonna make a difference in your hair. The next step that I have is to stop the breakage. So there's lots of different things you can do to prevent breakage and frizz. So my #1 tip is always to sleep with your hair on a satin pillowcase with a satin scrunchie, or in a sleep cap that is satin. So I have my cap right here. I talk about this all the time. This is my favorite way to sleep with my hair because it kind of plops my hair at the same time, so I wake up with some good volume and definition. But it's basically just a satin bonnet that you sleep with your hair, and you can wrap it up in a silk scarf, but that's gonna prevent the friction and the frizz. It's gonna help preserve your curls so they look great the next day. It's not only good for your skin to sleep on a satin pillowcase, but also your hair as well, so that's another great tip. I also love satin scrunchies. I get these on Amazon. I do have an Amazon store, by the way, where I put all my favorite products, especially things like these that are just like cheapies that anyone can get from pretty much anywhere. I just link those on there, so I'll have that store down below. But satin scrunchies, satin everything. I wear this even around the house if I'm home laying around on the couch all day, because even that friction can just make a mess and tangles and just makes it worse. So I love sleeping in this too because it prevents so much breakage you won't even know. You also want to stop wearing your hair up too tight. You don't want to have a tight ponytail. Like I was saying that I wore it as a kid. I wish I didn't do that because I have so much breakage still that is still growing out. But you just want to stop doing anything that is going to put too much strain on your hair. Some other ways you want to stop causing breakage is detangling when your hair is dry. You never want to do that. You only want to brush it in the shower when your hair's soaking wet with lots of conditioner in. It's best to just finger detangle, so you just kind of pull apart the tangles and work from the bottom up instead of just like ripping through those tangles, because that will just cause so much breakage, especially when your hair is wet. It's so delicate, and I have fine hair, so it snaps so easily. If you're hearing any snapping, oh my gosh, that just makes me cringe thinking about it. It's so bad, and it will just snap your hair and you end up with split ends and so much breakage. And I still have a lot of breakage that I'm dealing with just from over the years, like around here and stuff, and that will grow out over time. You just gotta try to treat your hair really gentle. Another way to prevent breakage is to stop using a towel. This is like, just like with sleeping on satin, this is another one tip that is so important, is stop using a hair towel. I used to wrap my hair up like a twist, like a turban, every single day, and towels are not only heavy, but they have little fibers in them that will create so much friction and frizz. especially when your hair is wet like that and so delicate. I use the Ultimate Hair Towel from Hair Repair, and it's amazing. It's basically like a t-shirt material. You can just use an old t-shirt that you have if you don't want to get this, but I recommend this one because it's so large and you can actually plop your hair. I have a video on how to plop your hair, and it's how I usually dry it after the shower, so I'll link that for you down below, along with all these other videos, but I've done lots of them on these types of topics that are so important that you definitely have to check those out. Another major tip, of course, is to give up that heat styling. I haven't touched my straightener in years. I can't even remember the last time I straightened my hair. You want to stop blow drying your hair with a round brush, blowing it out, heat styling it with a curling iron and everything. If you can just stop heat styling it, you will notice such a difference in your hair over time that you won't even feel like that you need to use hot tools. My hair was so damaged before, and I didn't even realize it, that my old curly hair routine videos, I was literally curling it with a curling iron to try to make the curls look better. It was so bad, and my curls were probably even still wet at that time. Like, I would wash my hair and then curl it with a tiny wand to try to make it look better because I had these frizzy pieces all over the place. And if I would have just realized that if I would just take care of my hair and stop the heat styling, it would naturally have these ringlets anyways. So just quit with the heat styling altogether. I do still use a diffuser. I use a really low heat and airflow setting on my blow dryer. I've done videos on how to diffuse your curls, and the diffuser helps disperse the air too, and you don't want it to get too hot. You can even do it on cold, but of course it's better to air dry your hair. I just don't like how my hair looks when I air dry it. I would love your tips. If you do air dry, leave them in the comments because I need to get better at doing that, but that's of course more healthy for your hair. You also want to stop coloring your hair. So this is like the last step that I need to do for transitioning my curls. I have colored my hair since probably 2011. I started with box dye, so bad for your hair, so many chemicals. I'm ashamed that I even put that stuff on my head. My hair just started falling out after using the box dyes. And I'm kind of embarrassed that I even have videos on how I did it. But I've had my channel for so long that you can kind of see my progress, I guess, so it's good that those videos are still out there. Then I was getting my hair colored at a salon, and I was going to an Aveda salon, which I just still do, and I still love their products so much, and I like how their color is natural plant-based. But of course, it's still gonna have a little bit of ammonia in or whatever the ingredient is. I'm not a professional hairstylist, but if it's gonna actually turn your hair and lift your hair or whatever, it's gotta still have some type of chemical in it. Done a lot of research recently on hair color, even natural hair colors, and they still have somewhat of a chemical to them. And I feel like that is just the one thing that I still need to do to really get my hair healthy. So I've been trying to grow it out. I have roots coming in. But one thing that I've been doing and that you can try if you are trying to transition your hair color is to use a temporary color. So I've been getting like a tinted glaze with them, and that's pretty much just like a temporary color that washes out over time. So that's a good way to kind of blend your roots with that temporary color until you go the next time and like as it's growing out. Because I am dyeing my hair darker, so I have these lighter roots. But I just want to get back to my natural hair color. It's like a natural ash brown, and I think that that would be the last step to really seeing how healthy my hair can be. So my last and final tip is probably one of the most important of the whole video, and that's to use the Curly Girl method with your styling products. So just to sum it up real quick, because I'm going to have a full video on it, it's basically not using any sulfates, silicones, and sometimes alcohols and parabens and ingredients too, but it's really focused on no sulfates and silicones and just using products that are natural based, really great for your hair, and you really have to pay attention to ingredients. So just to give you the gist of it, if you don't already know, so sulfates is like a detergent. It's what's in pretty much every like cleaning product. It's in your laundry detergent, it's in your toothpaste, and it basically creates like that foaming effect or the sudsing that actually helps like strip away oils and whatnot, or dirt or grime or whatever if you're using it in a cleaning product. But with curly hair, like I said, it's so dry and so prone to breakage, and it's just naturally a lot drier, and we don't produce as much oil, so you wouldn't want to strip the oil that you do have out of your hair. And it's just hard on your hair. It just strips it from its natural oils, and it just is so damaging on the hair. I don't want to get into too much detail with actual product recommendations and stuff, but you do want to be careful and be looking at your ingredients and what is actually in them, because a lot of times they can be misleading on the packaging. And then silicone is the other one. So that's typically what is in styling products and conditioners, and silicones coat the hair. It creates like a barrier on the hair, which is supposed to help reduce frizz, and it can, but it also will coat the hair and prevent moisture from coming in, which is bad for curls, and it also just builds up over time. And unfortunately, you have to have sulfates to remove silicones. So if you're not using a sulfate shampoo, then you can't be using silicones in your styling products, or else it's just going to build up on your hair over time and weigh it down and just make it limp and lifeless. So they can't be removed without a sulfate shampoo, so that's why you want to go sulfate silicone free. And the other ones are like parabens and alcohols, because alcohols are drying on the hair if you're using like mousses and stuff like that. But I will get into that in another video, so that'll be the next one and going along with this. But I'm sure you guys are probably familiar, you've probably heard a lot about it in the natural hair community. And just being really conscious of what ingredients are in your products. This is something that I've been a lot better about, because a lot of times you will see in curly hairlines, it'll say like, it'll be a full line of curly hair products and it'll say it's sulfate free or whatnot. But then like another random product in that whole line is not Curly Girl Method approved, or it might have a silicone in it. So you just have to be checking every single product in the line instead of just assuming that the whole line is safe to use on your hair. So that was a lot, and I know it's a lot to take in, but hopefully this kind of lays out like the basics of it for you. I will list these out on the blog post that goes with this video to make it a little bit more simpler to follow. If you have someone in your life that needs these tips, please share this video with them, because I think it will be really helpful of just kickstarting your journey to natural hair. And just remember to be patient, because it takes such a long time. You can see I've been at this for years, but it's really been the past year where I've really been focused on it. So I'm really excited to see like where my hair will go in a year from now. So maybe I'll be doing an updated one of these videos. So that's really cool that I have kind of like my whole journey on here, because you guys have seen me from like straightening my hair all the way till now. My first video on YouTube was actually how to straighten curly hair, and it was so bad. But I still have it up on my channel, but that's kind of how I started this channel, with straightening my hair. So it's kind of interesting now to see where my hair is at. So I would love to hear about your transitioning journey and love to answer questions from you and help you all out. So you can always DM me on Instagram, you can leave them in the comments down below, and I will be replying to everybody down there with my suggestions, and I'll be answering some Q&As and stuff over on my Instagram stories. So I did ask you guys to submit your questions, so I'll be answering those after this video goes live. So make sure you head over to Instagram so you can see me on the stories answering those frequently asked questions about transitioning your hair. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I will be posting more videos so you can keep up with this series, and you can check out my other curly hair playlist with all different types of videos about caring for your curls. And turn on those post notifications so you don't miss out when I post a new video. I usually post on Sundays, so you'll be notified when that goes live. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Bye everybody.